Day 5. Dear Journal, today is the day we depart from South Africa to fly to our next destination, Zimbabwe. The flight was pretty fast and had many scenic views to boot. Once we landed at the international airport, we were greeted with warm temperatures for the first time on this trip. I can finally take my fleece off after all that cold weather. And even a Zulu choir welcomed us as soon as we entered into the country. I love the sound of African choirs, for it seems to convey a lot of soul and spirit that can only be heard when listening to traditional African music. It always brings me right here to the heart of Africa.
Have a good one. Thank you. Are you guys ready to experience the heart of Africa?
Yes, ready.
I'm ready.
We then hopped onto a bus which then took us down a long and narrow road through untouched wilderness. Various Animal Crossing signs were seen along the way. We then pulled into the place we'll be staying at for the next day, Victoria Falls Safari Lodge. A beautifully built lodge perched on top of a scenic hill overlooking out into shrubland for as far as the eye can see. A nearby waterhole was easily visible from the deck, making a great vantage point for observing animals stopping by for a drink every now and again. Already we can see a lone impala sheltering from the sun in the shade of a small tree. Many vultures were seen flying, circling the area. As a matter of fact, this lodge has its own vulture culture feeding event, which we had the chance to see just before lunchtime.
Where you'll be 4-5 meters closer to the vultures, and that's where I do the vulture talk.
Okay, cool. You guys want to get on there for that?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Seems like they're ready up in the sky.
This is freaking nuts.
This is freaking cool. Look, they're already coming in. There's the first one. Yeah, look at the size of them. They're huge.
One by one, the vultures flew into the dusty clearing, and were picking at scraps amongst the dry bones from the previous frenzy. The guide then unpacked the contents from the cooler he was carrying, to reveal leftover pieces of meat from the lodge's kitchen, and began spreading them about the clearing. It was very easy to tell that the vultures knew that lunchtime was near, and surprisingly waited patiently around the guide as he was throwing the meat out. It would only be a matter of time until a massive feeding frenzy would begin.
Oh, this is gonna get good. Like as soon as one starts, it's gonna be a feeding frenzy, I'm sure.
There we go.
Oh my god.
It was equivalent to a helicopter landing as the vultures ganged up on the leftover meat the guide threw in for them. The largest feeding frenzy I've ever seen. There must have been either 300 or 400 birds devouring the meat all at once. There were even marabou storks in the mix, and they were fighting for scraps from the vultures. It's amazing how fast everything was cleared in the end. Not a shred of flesh was left on the ground. It really shows how important these birds are in keeping the ecosystems clean of dead carcasses throughout the wild in Africa.
We got our first elephant.
During our own lunch, we saw our first elephant from the deck of the lodge, a young bull drinking from the waterhole.
Seems like a young bull.
I barely had time to bite into my burger when I quickly grabbed my camera to film the first sighting of this magnificent creature on our trip. Also, adorable tree squirrels were present, trying to find an opportunity to steal food scraps from our plates at any given time. Opportunistic like the vultures, they wait for the right moment to snatch their food.
It's not at the Main Street Waffle. Oh. It's over there. So you can see like a gray top. I guess it's heading out. In grass. Yeah.
Look at this. Is this beautiful or what? Place we're staying at. Got some beautiful art on the walls, and there's a picture of an elephant, which I love right there. And there is the entire view of the Zimbabwe landscape. It's a shame we're only staying for one night, but still, that's... Oh, he's got a little elephant. Keychain. It's how high up, it's thatched roof. Oh yeah, this place is beautiful. Is that a... Oh no, it's a tree. I thought it was like horns or something, but antlers. No. That one makes sense. There's no deer out here in Africa. Wow. It's like an oasis here.
Alright, Ian. Alright, get ready. I'm gonna play our song. Ready, Ian?
Ready? I'm recording. It's not for another verse.
I'm gonna be your mighty king, so enemies beware.
Well, I've never seen a king or beast with quite so little hair.
I'm gonna be the main event. The king was before. I'm brushing up.
Now I want to get in.
After lunch, we then took a dip into the lodge's pool, a beautiful non-chlorinated freshwater pool lined with lovely plants and a rock waterfall. It was freezing, but absolutely refreshing. A day in African paradise, I should say.
Just another day in the African sunshine. I am set to explore worlds unknown.
Okay, so we're gonna walk across to viewing point number 1, and then there's all these different viewing points as we go across. Okay, Livingston Island here, that marks the boundary. So anything that side is actually we're looking at Zambian side of the falls. Okay, although we're still on Zimbabwe, we'll be looking at the Zambian side of the falls. Okay, this time of year the falls is flowing all the way across pretty strong, but at certain times of year this side on the Zambian side is completely dry. Okay, but we'll start here and then we'll walk all the way across. Okay.
I should have recorded you saying that I look like David Livingston. Seriously though, do I look like David Livingston? Quint thinks I look like David Livingston.
David Livingston, yeah, awesome.
Oh, is this a statue of him right here?
Okay, so this is Dr. David Livingston, right? So he was the first, what would you call, European as such, to a westernized person to discover the falls. He was a British missionary. Turned out to Africa, came down by boat in Zimbabwe, landed on what they now call Livingston Island. And he was the first person to bring the falls to the rest of the world.
That is beautiful.
Victoria Falls, or as the natives would have called it, Mosi Atunya, which translates in English to the smoke that thunders. To me, that sounds much more epic. A humongous cascade of fresh water from the Zambezi River falling into a beautiful gorge that takes a 90-degree angle turn to the east. Another seventh wonder of the world, like Table Mountain, this is the largest waterfall, volume-wise, to ever exist on Earth. be David Livingstone himself upon discovering this back in 1855, it must have been an awe-inspiring sight to see.
I've always wanted to explore tropical rainforest. Is it big and strong enough? This has so far been the best safari I've ever been on. We're literally in a tropical rainforest right now, near one of the biggest waterfalls on the planet. And I lost my train of thought, but I am still excited to see what else there is out here beyond this path as Clint leads us forward through the thickets. And yeah, my Hemingway monologue is now done. So.
A spectacular rainbow was seen arcing into the gorge, making a one-of-a-kind natural wonder you probably wouldn't find anywhere else on this planet. It seemed like clouds were forming right in front of us as the mist constantly billowed up from the downward draft caused by the falls itself. I now have a good idea of how amazed Livingstone was over a century and a half ago. To be an explorer, a pioneer mapping out the unknown regions of Africa, to then come across this amazing sight, it would most definitely be something to tell the whole world about.
Holy Jesus! Getting wet. It's spray and it's coming down like rain. This is living dangerously right here.
After getting absolutely drenched, we then made our way back to the lodge, where the sun was setting on the spectacular day, but it wasn't over yet.
Isn't that amazing? It's an entire herd of elephants hanging out in that waterhole. Oh my gosh.
For dinner, we decided to be a bit festive and attend the Bomba Dinner and Drum Show, where we ate some tasty native food and witnessed some exciting, energetic drum performances. A great way to experience the true culture of Zimbabwe. It's amazing to think that these rhythms and dances we're witnessing are generations old, dating back to ancient times. It can very well be considered the oldest kind of music ever created by mankind. Now it's our turn to play the drums, right?
Yes.
Before long, we were participating in the drumming, as we were each given our own bongo to play along with. It's surprisingly easy to keep up with the rhythm. Well, at least for me anyway. They say that the drum beat helps regulate brainwaves for better concentration, so I would imagine everyone here is having no problem following along with the music. Before long, we were dancing our hearts out to the rhythm of the ancient beats, giving our own go at how to dance to these rhythmatic tunes. Some moves being a bit sillier than others, but still, it's a whole lot of fun. I then began to realize that all of these people that we're dancing with within this crowd are from many different regions around the world. And they're all dancing to the same music, which then leads me to believe that music is indeed the universal language of the earth. It brings people together, no matter how many barriers there are. Actually, I believe it destroys all barriers entirely. And everyone just comes together as one people to have fun and enjoy the music of Africa. That was great.
Ian, did you get it?
Yeah, I got like the whole 5 minutes. A very fantastic and bombastic way to end this day, I should say. Tomorrow has already arrived for me, as I am writing this entry in the morning sunshine, looking out at the beautiful land of Zimbabwe. I know today's gonna be a whole nother adventure, and I can't wait to experience it. Till the next entry, this is Ian, signing off for now.
No, I can do it.
Okay, go. If he doesn't do it in 5, I'm pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. You are going to push you. Yes! Oh my gosh, that's cold.